I love looking out and seeing so many family and friends and joyful faces. It's really wonderful to see all of you today. So thank you for coming. Let's see. Okay. So the topic of my service is offering anyway. And you'll understand why the anyway is on there in a minute. But it's interesting. Throughout this week, the topic of offering just kept coming back to me. And I felt like this is what I need to talk about this week. So I started to put together, I looked up, quotes. I tried to reflect on stories of offering. And it was just this morning where it really came together for me. And I realized this is, what is this all about? What is offering about? What is it really important for? And I felt it all come together this morning. So I'm really excited now to finally share with you what I have. But I wanted to start with a quote or a poem. Many of you have probably heard it before. It's often attributed to Mother Teresa, and it's called The Final Analysis. And apparently, originally it was written by Keith Kent, but then Mother Teresa adapted it to a more spiritual form, and it was found on the walls of her school in Calcutta, and apparently was also written on the wall of her home, and that she really lived by this poem. So I want to share it with you today. Well, there's Mother Teresa. Actually, she's Saint Teresa now. People are often unreasonable, irrational, and self-centered. Forgive them anyway. If you are kind, people may accuse you of selfish, ulterior motives. Be kind anyway. If you are successful, you will win some unfaithful friends and some genuine enemies. Succeed anyway. If you are honest and sincere, people may deceive you. Be honest and sincere anyway. What you spend years creating, others could destroy overnight. Create anyway. If you find serenity and happiness, some may be jealous, but be happy anyway. The good you do today will often be forgotten. Do good anyway. Give the best you have, and it will never be enough. But give your best anyway. In the final analysis, it was between you and God. It was never between you and them anyway. I actually first saw this quote when I was at a workshop in California. We were renting a little house, and they have these inspirational quotes. It's actually on the back of the bathroom door. So when you close the door and you're sitting down, you're looking at this quote. And it wasn't attributed to Mother Teresa on that particular paper, but I just thought that is a really good quote to live by. I love that quote. And what I love about it is that what this is expressing is that it's not so much about the thing that you do. And it really isn't about the people who see you do it. It's really about your heart, and it's really about your offering. So I had the pleasure of riding with Ella in the car earlier this week, and we were talking about a lot of wonderful things. One thing that she was sharing with me is how she's been going witnessing with Catherine and Nobuyuki-san, and she was saying, it's so inspiring to me because Nobuyuki-san doesn't speak the best English, but he's out there. He's witnessing to people, and people respond to him. And it's really moving to see that. And I think sometimes we think we should be perfect, or we should be really great at what we're doing. We should have it all together. We should be the perfect representation of God to the people. And that would be great, but we can do it anyway with what we have. It's really the heart of offering that Nobuyuki-san has. It's the heart of offering that we have when we express ourselves, the best of our abilities. When she was saying that, it reminded me of my time on STF, which was our church's mission program. And at one point, I was in training to be a captain to help take care of other young members in our mission group. And it was actually the first time that the second generation or the young people of our movement would become the captains or the leaders for the others. So because we were kind of a pilot program, there was a lot of pressure, I felt. Maybe there wasn't so much from the leader's standpoint, but from my standpoint, I felt so much expectation. I felt so much pressure that we had to be the best because everybody else who came after us would be looking to this first group. And so, but what started to happen to me, I think what happens to a lot of us when we feel a lot of stress or pressure or expectation is that we feel, I'm really not good enough. There are other people who could do this better. There are other people who understand God's heart better. There are other people who can express God's love better. What am I doing here? But what I really found power in, and what helped me to get out and do it anyway, and to do my best, was to think, was this word, anyway. I think sometimes the word anyway is kind of used to diminish, like, well, I really hope that you can come to this program, but anyway, whatever works. Or you write an email, and at the end you say, anyways, I really hope that this works out, or anyways, I'll talk to you later. And I feel like it diminishes so many times. But the anyway I'm talking about is, even though I'm not the best expression of God, even though I can't love this person in front of me as God would love them, anyway, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to give the best of what I have anyway. And I think that's really all that God can ask of us. He knows who we are. God knows our limitations. God knows our heart. And so when we give our best, that is our offering, and we do it anyway. We do it anyway. So for me, that was a very empowering word at that time that helped me to go beyond where I felt like I was stuck. And it helped me to accomplish things that I didn't feel I was capable of accomplishing. And I feel like that really helped me to make the best offering of the time that I had to give. So if we look into the Bible, back into the Old Testament, there's a lot of offerings being made. Generally, it's the sacrificing of animals. That was what was required of people to be in good standing with God, was the offering. And then, in the New Testament, we have like offering of faith. And now we're in the completed Testament age, and so what is our offering? I have a couple of quotes here by our true father, the founder of our movement. Only by putting yourself in the position of a sacrifice, a living sacrifice, on the altar of God, can you be restored. Putting yourself in the position of the sacrifice. And this is another one. The person's purpose is to be saved by giving the offering. And God's purpose is to restore man by having him make the offering. So, what I get out of these quotes, is that we ourselves, we may think that we own things. We may have possession of things. But really, isn't everything from God? Isn't everything we own made by God, created by God for our purpose? Do we take it with us when we pass away? not even the clothes on our back, right? Sometimes we get caught up in what we own. But when I think about offering, everything that we have is from God. And when we give an offering, when we give something back to God, it's really a representation, an acknowledgement that this is yours. All of this is yours. And I just want to offer the very best of it back to you. And then what that does is it allows God to claim ownership, true ownership, over what he has given to us. And not only does it allow him to claim what we give and what we have, it allows him to claim us. That's what I get out of these quotes. We put ourselves in the position of a sacrifice. God doesn't really care about the ram on the altar table. God doesn't really care about the $200 check that you wrote out today. God cares about you. He wants to be close to us, and he needs a condition to claim us. So what allows this to happen? How are we restored to God? Through our actions, through our prayer, through our offerings, through our tithe. This is another quote by True Father. What is an offering? The offering is a small condition to restore all things. In order for the offering to be accepted by God, man must put all of his love and heart into the offering. More love and loyalty than the degree of Satan's attachment to it. Satan cannot claim the offering, which is completely united with man. So what I get from this is that this comes back to our heart. It's really not about the amount. It's really not about the thing that you do. It's not about the buildings that you build. It really comes back to the heart that we do it with. This is where it all came together for me this morning. I realized it's not about any of that. God is looking for you. God is looking for us. We're his children, and he wants that relationship with us. And this is one way which he can claim us as his. By the small things that we offer with our whole entire heart and give back to God. So I can't really talk about offering without saying something about tithing. Because tithing is an offering in the most literal sense. It's a very clear way in which we give of ourselves. We give something that doesn't actually really belong to us back to God. So we do not kill animals to put on a table to offer to God, but we do reserve the first 10% to give to God. And when I was looking through a lot of Father's words, I hadn't heard this so much before, but he really emphasized, you give the first 10%, the best 10%. He said you should carry it around for 3 days, cultivating your heart before you give it to the church. He's like, he was talking about a lot of Christian churches, they pass the basket. Do you think God is begging for money? Do we pull out the last $2 left over from our lunch and toss it in the basket? Oh, here's my charity to God. Here you go, God. I'll be nice to you. No, he's saying, I don't like that. We need to give the first and the best. So I have one more quote. By offering a tithe from your material possessions, you can make a condition that you have offered all that you have. Although you do not offer the whole, offering a portion with all of your heart and mind is valuable in that sense. By offering 1, the rest of 9 can be also considered to be holy. The person who tithes will never perish. As days go by, his storage room will be filled with more material possessions and blessings. So I think that sometimes there's often an attitude projected by, I think kind of people who are critical of the existence of God, or critical of churches, critical of a practice of tithing, that this is like a, what's it called, like a ploy to get people to give their money. And I think even for people who believe in God and do tithe, we often have the feeling like we're having something taken away from us that I could be using for, food. I could be using this for school. I could be using this for many good things. But I think that we miss that this is just one avenue that God uses to reach us. This is an avenue that God uses to bless us. Because none of it is ours anyway. And then when God can claim that small amount that we give, it allows him access to everything that we have. It gives him full claim over our entire belongings. And most importantly, the heart of it. Not the begrudging heart. Not the, oh, here's the leftover money from my lunch. But the heart of offering is what allows God to claim us and to bless us. That is what I felt this morning, was that I knew I wanted to talk about this quote from Mother Teresa. I know that I wanted to talk about this story of Nobuyuki-san and his, witnessing despite limitations with everything that he has. I knew I wanted to talk about tithing, but what it came together for me this morning is that God wants you. God wants me. He wants to claim us. He wants to claim his ownership of us. And with that ownership, then we become co-owners. We become co-creators. God gives us the same, what is it called? The same creative spark, divine spark that he has. He wants to infuse that in us. He wants us to be able to take that possessions that we have and multiply it tenfold. He wants to take the blessings that we have. He wants to give us the blessing, and he wants to multiply that blessing tenfold in our life. He wants us to experience joy in our families, and then he wants us to multiply, become the co-creators, and multiply that joy and blessing to other families' lives. I think that's God's heart behind any kind of Sunday service you can give, behind any topic you could talk about, behind any chapter of the divine principle, is the heart that God wants to be in our lives. He wants us to experience his love as his children, and he wants us to mature to become the people who express it and multiply it and become the owners of this entire world. That, I think, is the heart of the divine principle and the heart of God's love, and basically the omega to any kind of a talk you could give. So I hope that there's something in this that can help you to let go of the stigmas of an offering or a sacrifice, and instead to see it as an access point to God that allows God to claim us. It's the beginning point to raising us up to become the people that are the expression of God to the world. So take from that what you will, but I hope that you can reflect on it. I hope, not everybody can give a lot of money. But think about what you can give. Where can you open up that door to God? What can be your access point? How can you tithe your time? How can you tithe your skills? How can you tithe your efforts? How can you tithe something? What 10% of your life can you completely open up to God so that God can claim that, so God can claim you? I'm going to finish with that, but love you all, and I hope you have a wonderful week. Thank you.
Thank you, Pastor Adonia. Yes, sometimes in our society it looks kind of helpless. So many things are going wrong, but if we can offer anyway and just do good anyway, I think we can make an impact in this world somehow. So thank you for that. Now I'd like to invite the ushers to come up with the offering. This is a time for us to take to meditate and just reflect on the service. If you did not put your tithe or offering already, there are envelopes in front of your pews. You can take the time to do so now. Thank you.
I have some pretty exciting announcements today. So I told Joelle I'll just do it. First of all, we had some really awesome Japan night last night. You missed it. Sorry, you missed out. People just worked so hard to prepare such a nice meal and an atmosphere. Really grateful for Generation Peace Academy. They helped out, and we had, well, you can see, such a nice. We had such a nice sushi. Some of it was donated by Okada-san's company. And some of them came also, so it was just really nice, high quality sushi, and we had lots of people. How many people? We had maybe like 60 or 70 people. There was a lot of people. It was really great, and Mr. Okada performed a really awesome story about Kaguya with this really traditional Japanese instrument. That was really neat. And we had karaoke, and quite a few people got up and performed. It was a lot of fun. We had karaoke in Chinese, Japanese, English. A lot of great guests. This is like the Chinese speaking table here, kind of. Well, not really, but kind of. People who've been studying the principle one-on-one with from campus, and they've been learning the principle, and many of them they love Japanese culture and Japanese food, so this was the inspiration for this. People dressed up so nicely, and it was just a really enjoyable event, and I think that they deserve a big round of applause. Yes. I really felt that this event really embodied something that's very, very important to me, which is that when we have an event, it should be not just valuable to our guests, people who come, who we're trying to reach out to, but also should be equally valuable to our own members who are there as well. So also today, right after service at 12:30, we will be having a special presentation from my dad, Reverend Hendrick, Dr. Hendrick, about what is special about the Divine Principle. That will be here in the Welcome Center, and from 12:30 to 1:30. And if you want to attend, you have to have at least have at least heard the entirety of the Divine Principle all the way through. Also today during lunch, Claire is hosting a meeting about Sunday school. And this is a really important meeting. She's due in less than a month, so she's not going to be able to continue doing Sunday school, but she's been doing such a great job. And we have a plan in place for how to continue with the Sunday school, but still, we have so many young children, and they just need help. They don't need necessarily someone to come in and teach the Sunday school, but someone to help with the arts and the crafts and things like that. So especially if you have a child or a grandchild who's attending Sunday school and benefiting from that, please attend this meeting during lunch. Claire promised that it would be short, and she just wants to get on the same page about what's going to be happening, And even if you feel like even if you just love Sunday service so much and you don't want to ever miss it, but if you can even just give one day a month or something like that to help out, I know that they would really appreciate it. Also, on Saturday, October 29th, we'll be hosting a Divine Principle workshop from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. This is going to be a basic Divine Principle workshop. It's going to be covering the first half. So we're going to be covering the principles of creation and the fall. And this is really mostly geared towards guests and people who are looking for a refresher, because it's always nice to be refreshed with the principle. And there'll be lunch and dinner served. On October 30th, we're celebrating one of our special holy days called True Children's Day, and it happens to be the same day as Halloween. So we're just celebrating them together. So they're technically on Monday, but since most people are working, going to school on Monday, we will have an offering table at 7 a.m. if you can make it. But also on Sunday, we will be celebrating with a face painter. We're hiring a nice face painter to come in, and we'll be doing some Halloween stuff, and we'll also be celebrating Children's Day with separate things. So that'll be really great. You don't want to miss that, especially if you have kids. And that will start after service. The Women's Federation of Schools of Africa Luncheon fundraiser is still happening. It's going to be Saturday, November 5th. And if you want to attend or you have questions, please contact Shirley Chimes. We're having a reunion. I'm reaching out to people around the country who used to live here and have moved away, people who grew up here in Colorado. So I'm thinking that's going to be really great. And Young Il and Sammy are organizing Broncos and Burritos on October 24th. I think it's a great idea. And it's a youth event. And as far as I know, you're watching the Broncos game and you're making and eating burritos. Okay, so I'm really happy to announce a very special visitation we're receiving. So many of you have, maybe personally or have seen Dr. Balcom in the videos, the weekly update videos. He's our national president of our church in America. He's coming here. He's coming here. I was talking with Reverend Jackson in Texas, and he was saying that him and Dr. Balcom were talking, and they were, Dr. Balcom was saying, where maybe should I come visit one of your communities in your district? And he said, yeah, Colorado I really feel bad for Colorado because they're part of my district, but I haven't visited them, and I feel like they're kind of not getting a lot of love. And so, maybe you could go there to Colorado. So he's like, yeah, sure. And so Dr. Balcom will be coming, hopefully with his wife, on November 5th and 6th. And so we are talking about doing maybe a Saturday night. So that's Saturday and Sunday. So we're talking about maybe doing a Saturday lunch, dinner, community dinner, possibly here at the church, possibly at a restaurant, where we can all kind of spend time together. Maybe some of you want to share some things about the community or some kind of testimony, and we can also hear from him, and he'll be here on Sunday as well. And my plan is to also hold the grand opening of our Welcome Center on that day too. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. So something really, I think that's going to be great. This might be the one opportunity that we have to have Dr. Balcom come visit us. Usually when they go to a community, it's part of some kind of a big event or something. And they have all these people and meetings and things like that. But he's just coming to visit our community. On Thursday, October 20th, the Heppel family is hosting a Blessed Family Gathering at their home. So if you're interested, you can speak with Lorette. She knows about it. And this is their address here, 630. And then of course we still need help with cleaning certain areas, and we're emphasizing a lot with the Sunday school now. So, and then next week, cleaning is the Nye family, ushering is the Jameson family, and cooking is Dash and Byron. So, great. I'd like to welcome up the band so we can have our final closing song. So please rise and join together with us.